Welcome to the Soul Wisdom Project, the living blueprint of the soul. With me, Shakti Bottazzi, your host. Do you ever feel overwhelmed by your daily life as if something inside you is trying to get your attention? As an international teacher, shaman, and energy healer, I will bring the tools of a lifetime to guide you to explore how to live consciously, awaken your innate wisdom, integrating the design, development, and emergence of your divine blueprint. Each episode blends grounded conversation with multidimensional insight, guiding you to release old patterns, align with your higher intelligence, and live awake, aware, and fully present. The Soul Wisdom Project with me, Shakti Bottazzi, starts now. Well, welcome once again to another episode of Soul Wisdom Project. I'm super excited to be here, even though it's hard to tell by my voice. That's because I had a very harsh bout of bronchitis, and it's a small miracle that I can be here with you today during the show. And I'm very happy to be, because these are some amazing times through this Lionsgate energy gateway that we're on. And today's topic is, are we jumping timelines? Right? The quickening, the astrology behind this moment, because I have noticed how often people are playing with this thing. There's all kinds of things going on in social media, everywhere, my friends, do you feel that you're jumping timelines? Is this something you've been experiencing too? Personally, I definitely have. I definitely have, and I've had a few of those perceived glitches in the matrix that are a little bit mind-boggling, and then you begin wondering if it's your memory that doesn't remember correctly or what is it, right? And are we jumping timelines is really a question that we want to delve into today. Maybe you've wondered it yourself. And what is my understanding is that many times we use this phrase as a way of describing something much bigger that we are all struggling to put into words, that we don't know quite how to express, and that the thought or the idea or our own interpretation of what does it mean to jump timelines could make it enter into a framework that makes sense, right? Because in the end, what we're all doing is wanting to figure things out, wanting to give to this moment of profound uncertainty and instability and craziness all around in all countries and everything, some explanation. We're trying to figure things out. And as you know, in June, I gave you the astrology of June and July, and I said, after July 25th, I'll be back and I'll give you a little bit more insights on what's happening after that. And today, we will be doing that. I have been researching a lot of the astrology of this period, and I want to also help you understand your place of where you are in your own life, in your own, if you want to call it, timeline. But it is my goal that you end today's episodes with a better understanding of your own life changing and what is that about, and how to fit yourself in that reality that you're in, and to better understand what to expect and how to navigate these times. An explanation, you'll end up understanding why August marks one of the most significant turning points we've experienced in years, not just August in general or Lionsgate in general. And also, you will walk away with a better understanding of how to move consciously through this period instead of allowing the overwhelm to catch up on you, it's a real thing. And remember that you can message us directly live so that I can answer your questions, or if you have comments you want to share, you message us, and our producer, Emily, will let me know and we can answer them live. And so let's begin to unpack why this period feels so different. And before I even go there, I want to tell you that I have a a beautiful invitation for you, and that is that this coming Saturday on the 8th of August, I'm holding at 8 a.m. Pacific a 90-minute ceremony. It's a free gathering, and you're invited to join us. And if you see this show within the next days, please join me. The link is in the description to this video, to this podcast, and you can just simply click in there and join us so you get all the information. I'd love to have you, and I hope that at the end of today's show, you will be completely motivated to join us, and you'll understand better why it's cool for you to be there. So I want to address a few things. There's one topic that I want to address, which is the Leo Aquarius nodal shift. This is about the north and the south nodes that have just on the 27th of July moved. They stay 18 months in a nodal axis, and they were in the Pisces Virgo axis, and now they've moved into the Aquarius Leo axis, which interestingly enough, the full moon we had on July 29th was with the sun in Leo and the moon in Aquarius. And this change of the axis Pisces Virgo to Aquarius Leo changes the overarching developmental emphasis for the collective. This is something that affects all of us. And of course, it affects us also individually, depending upon where you have in your astrology birth chart your north and your south node. And it has you can have another layer of that reading. Then, of course, we are in the Lionsgate portal. Like I said, I mean, the portal started on July 25th. It ends normally on August 12th, which is so interesting. It peaks on 8/8. And on August 12th, we have a total solar eclipse with the sun in Leo, which is powerful. And it's the opening of a full year of our runway. And that's why I want you to understand what's happening at a bigger level, because the solar eclipse really calls us into our individual authentic leadership, into our heart-centered expression. It's inviting us with courage, like the lion, to really step up to shine our light. And I'll, talk about this in more detail during the next hour. And interestingly enough, after the solar eclipses come in pairs. 15 days later, we have a lunar eclipse, which is not going to be a total lunar eclipse, but still. And it's interesting because the lunar eclipse will be in the axis Virgo Pisces, which is the nodes that we've shifted from. And in that moment, we're going to be invited into completion. And I want you to know more about that. And finally, at the very end, I want to help you with the larger planetary backdrop, the understanding of what's happening at all levels on Earth and why we are living in this simulation, like it's called, where we are all seeing the glitches in a computer program, you may say, how we are dismantling the illusion. In the dismantling of the illusion is really where the medicine lays, your own medicine. So let's begin with the nodes, because the nodes is something people struggle to understand, because the nodes don't represent a physical space in the skies, like the moon is literally at so many degrees, or the earth it's so many degrees in the house one or the house two. It's they're literally, when you look at the sky, you see the planets there. But when you are talking about the nodes, you're talking about a description of the trajectory of the moon and the sun, and the 2 points north and south where this elliptic crosses, and those identify this point. So it's not really a physical placement, but a linear point of the crosses of the elliptics of the sun and the moon. So the North Node in Pisces, which is where it was for the last 18 months, and you may, as I speak about this, you may go back in your mind and think about where these big topics really playing out in your life, because Pisces is about deep emotions, is about profound inner world. It's about intuition. It's about you surrender. Aren't we all called into surrender? It's about asking questions that go beyond the mind. It's about the spiritual aspects of life. It's about why we're here, what we're here for, and um, what is it about death? All these questions. It's about compassion, faith, and deep imagination. So here we have the North Node in Pisces, and the North Node speaks about where we're heading, what are the lessons, what's the Dharma. When we talk about the axis of South Node versus North Node, we're talking about moving from karmic lessons into our Dharma. Karmic lessons as in what we're here to learn, and Dharma as in, sorry, karmic lessons is what we're here to heal, and Dharma is what we're here to learn and embody and take as the next up level for our lives. So the South Node, which was in Virgo, which is what we bring as humanity and individually in our charts, what we bring as wisdom, as tools, as baggage, and both good and bad baggage. Baggage is in all that I've learned, and baggage is in all that I haven't yet resolved. And Virgo is a very precise, detailed oriented earth sign. And so the South Node in Virgo, the lessons, the 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 what would I say, the grinding, the parts that we want to learn are about releasing perfectionism, releasing over analyses, or maybe you've been engaged in this loop in your mind of over analysis, and it's about, okay, let that go a little bit. It's about going into control, and it's about excessive control. So how do we do this? How do we allow for the divine will to happen in our lives? And we have to let go of control for that, because while we're holding control and we're holding the idea of how we believe things need to be, then there's no way for the universal synchronicities and magic to operate, because we don't leave room for that. It's about letting go of the belief that everything must be solved with your mind. There's a lot more than the mind. So you can see how Virgo South Node, this whole mind and perfectionism and all of that, into Pisces, intuition, surrender, spirituality, compassion, right? That's the axis from the mind to the heart to the soul. Well, that has now shifted. So the first question I am asking you is, as you think back through a year and a half from now, so we're talking about the beginning of 2025, because we're in month seven. So 18 months is about February of 2025. So since 2025, all last year and half of this year, have you felt this? Have you felt this playing out for you individually? And the bigger question, if you've been watching, if you've been following what's been happening at the level of the collective, the question is, have you been seeing this play out at the level of the collective? That's already happened, right? So that's good food for thought, so you understand what's coming. Now we're moved from that nodal into the North Node in Aquarius and the South Node in Leo. And this opens up a window that is so much bigger than the North and South Node. The Sun is currently in Leo, Lion. All of the things that have to do with Leo are about I am, I shine my light. The Sun is the regent of Leo, is about the individuality, is about leadership as one leader, one hierarchy with one leader, right? So here we have the South Node. I'm going to analyze it the other way this time, where it is all the things we're here to let go, to learn, to resolve as karma, as densities that we're ready to let go. Well, it's about releasing leadership based upon approval, releasing leadership based upon overpower. I don't want to say power, because power in itself is beautiful when it's centered. It's overpower and manipulation that's not okay. Is about our trauma is about performance, right? We get triggered because we need to perform. We need to show others who we are, and we are not able to stay in our authenticity, right? We want to show others who we think others want us to be. And that's a whole illusion in and of itself. We are allowing the field of illusion of others imposing upon us what we're thinking that the others want, not even what it is, because we don't really know. It's about the validation of the ego, right? And it's about needing to be seen for the sake of power of egoic reasons, right? That's all the shadow, all the lower frequencies expression of Leo that are the ones to be healed and let go, because there is beautiful leadership, there is beautiful shining your light and beautiful being empowered and discernment, and that too is happening here. And so when you move into the north node in Aquarius, which is what the dharma is, the light where we're invited into the lesson of expanding, Aquarius is about a very bright, intelligent, uh, um, creative and curious and intellectual mind. It's about technology, AI. It's about also community collaboration. It's about rising up as a whole, not as a one guru, Leo, everybody rising up together, communities. And innovation is about using the collective intelligence for contribution. It's about true new ways of organizing society. And this is what we just stepped into. July 27th. Today is August 4th. I had to think about that one. So this is, we're just stepping into this, which aligns also with what's opening up in this Lionsgate and in this eclipse season that's opening up. So I'm going to segue into that. But I want you to take away from this, what's the key teaching of this nodal axis that is moving from one place to the other? It's not about becoming less visible. That's not it. It's okay to be visible. It's about moving the way in which you're visible. Are you wanting to be visible for recognition, for power, for egoic reasons? Me, look at me, because you're so in your hurt, in your insecurity, in your unworthiness that you need the outside validation? Or is it about being visible because you're shining your light, you're authentically bringing your medicine into the world, whatever that is. Your medicine being a mom, a sister, a daughter, a friend, a lover, a teacher, an employee, whatever that is that you are, is about shining your light beautifully and being visible fully in your power, not in your overpower or your underpower as a victim, but fully comfortable with who we are. That is what's playing out here. And it's fundamental that we're able all to expand our abilities to be here, being who we came here to be. Yeah, think about that for a moment. And is this also one of the reasons why I created the Lionsgate ceremony this year? I've been holding ceremonies for Lionsgate for 10 years now. People were not holding ceremonies at the time I began holding them because it's an energetic that I resonate a lot with, and a lot of my guidance aligns very much with this type of frequency. But it is because it offers us all a conscious place to pause, to listen, and to participate in what is already unfolding. And that's why I would love to have you join me in this next gathering, because I'm going to dive a lot deeper also in what's going to be happening for the next year energetically, which is not the topic of today, but I will go there deeper. So if you, it's almost like you can continue today's conversation in the gathering. So to give you just, and by the way, you can find the link to the invitation in the description to this video and podcast, and also on my website, theawakeningpath.com. And there on the homepage, just scroll down and you can find it. Okay, so Lionsgate, right? What's been happening? We entered Lionsgate on July 25th. We're going to conclude it on August 12th. It peaks on 8/8. On the 12th, it's also the solar eclipse. And then towards the end of the month, we have the partial lunar eclipse on August 27th. So let's talk about this moment of now, because it's already August 4, and how this will have an implication of this whole next year. So a few days after Lionsgate, the peak of Lionsgate, which is a profound portal, Lionsgate, And let me tell you a little bit about Lionsgate first, because otherwise you're like, okay, you're jumping into what's next, and I don't know. So the Lionsgate has to do with, first of all, physically is has been acknowledged for millennia since the ancient Egyptian pharaohs, because it was the time in which the star Sirius and the sun and the earth would be perfectly aligned. And during this time, Orion's belt would perfectly align with the three pyramids in Giza. There was a very clear understanding of this moment being a moment of abundance. Also, why? Because in those days, the River Nile tended to overflood, and as it flooded the margins of the river, it brought all the silt from the river onto the land, which was the natural way of the land to become rich in nutrients. And it was after this time that the land then became prepared to be to plant the seeds and to have very abundant harvests. So the Lion's Gate, as an energetic portal in the collective unconscious for millennia, is about abundance, is about creation and creative ways of doing things, because it was said that the Egyptians learned from the goddess Isis about the best techniques for harvesting the most beautiful, abundant harvests. And it is about abundance in all aspects of life, and joy of living and being in our power. The sun, the lion, right? That's easy to understand. But this year, there's so much more at stake, because here we are in Lionsgate, and we are entering a runway of a full year until next year's Lionsgate. Because look at this, look at the indications, very precise information that we're being given. On August 12th, like I said, 4 days after Lionsgate, there's going to be a solar eclipse. Well, what is a solar eclipse? And it's a total solar eclipse with the sun in Leo. And spiritually, solar eclipses through, again, millennia have been catalysts for accelerated transformation. In the quote unquote olden days, eclipses were feared. In the middle of the day, the sky would turn dark and the day would turn cold. And people didn't have an explanation like we understand now what's happening. Right now, the moon is getting in between the earth and the sun, and it just happens that it covers the whole reflection of the earth and the sunlight. And so the sun darkens because the moon covers it, doesn't allow that light of the sun to arrive to the earth. It's that simple, right? But in the old days, they didn't know that. And so, from a spiritual perspective, eclipses are resets. It's like, okay, let's turn off the light of a whole city, right? Of a whole universe, of a whole collective, and then turn it back on. And they are a way to allow whatever we've placed in the shadow, all those aspects of us that we haven't been able to embrace, all those aspects of us that we've made wrong, all those aspects of us that we haven't been able to befriend because we are almost even afraid of embracing them. So in that shadow, there's nothing else on shadow. And in that darkness, those aspects come to the light. And then after a couple of minutes, this eclipse is going to be about 2 minutes, which is kind of start standard. Then the sun shines and illuminates what is ready to emerge, revealing what is ready to be released. So it's a beautiful opportunity. So eclipses, instead of allowing for a modest timing of things to happen, right? It creates an acceleration. Change happens, boom, fast, right? Reset, it happens. And this particular eclipse opens this chapter that has to do with this nodal axis of Aquarius and Leo, of leadership, heart-centered expression, courage, creativity, allowing us to really shine our light and be seen in our true light. But next year, and this is the wild card, next year, again, remember 8-8 is Lionsgate. Well, next year, instead of 4 days after, a few days before that on August 2nd, we have another solar eclipse, again with the sun in Leo. And you know what? Next year, that is called the eclipse of the century because it's going to last 6 minutes and 23 seconds. That is more than 3 times the duration of any eclipse. So much so that astrologers and astronomers, like astronomy, I'm talking about, and astrologers and spiritual communities all over the world have booked Egypt because this eclipse of 6 minutes is going to be seen in Egypt, Luxor, and then all in the Mediterranean, which is very interesting. The one from this year is going to be seen crossing Spain into England, Scotland, Greenland, Russia. Like it goes all like that. And so next year, it's happening where? In Egypt, in Luxor, the land where lion energy shines, right? There's a reset happening. There's a next year, the guidance of many of us, including mine, are telling us humanity is going to leap into a new transcendent consciousness, into a new level of awareness. And that's going to happen through the Lionsgate time and through this eclipse. So this that's happening now, this Lionsgate time now, this eclipse that's happening now is a calibration. It's supporting our bodies to begin calibrating to these energies that are becoming rampant and faster and faster and faster. We've all been in the transformation every 2 weeks, every new moon, full moon, eclipses, equinoxes, right? We've spoken about this in many of my episodes. And we started today's episode saying, are we jumping timelines? And what's happening is that life is moving so fast. And there is such a manipulation of information through social media that our minds can be toyed with and we can be convinced of illusionary thoughts. And I want to give us a few minutes to pause and take everything that I've shared to take it in. So we're going to go to a break of a couple of minutes in a moment so that you can allow all of this barrage of information and energy that I've been sharing to land with you. Get up, get a drink, allow yourself to anchor in all that I've said, because when we come back, I want to share with you how the last 18 months are going to be closing fully to give full space into this new energy. And then I'm going to share with you the most important thing, which is how can you navigate these times and how can you really utilize these energies for not only your own benefit, but the benefit of everybody that's in your life. So take the time in this break also to go into the link in the description to this video and sign up for Lionsgate, and then we'll see you in a few moments.
Are you ready to change and grow? Wherever you are in your spiritual journey, I'm here to help. I'm Tristan Stoicki, a shaman, astrologer, and host of Musings and Modalities. Tune in every second and fourth Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific as I cover a variety of topics and share techniques to work with astrology, your birth chart, past life healing, and more. Please share this show and subscribe for more guidance from me, your pragmatic shaman bestie, at musingsandmodalities.com.
Have you had an experience you can't explain? A sign, a presence, a knowing that left you changed but unsure who would understand? I'm Gina Gale Gray, and Weird Real Life Stories is more than a show. It's a sacred space to explore the mystical, the mysterious, and the deeply personal. Each episode features true tales that awaken intuition, validate soul signs, and open hearts. And now I want to hear your story. Visit anywheremindbodysoul.com to send me a request to share your experience on this show, or discover how we can work together to explore the meaning behind it. Tune in every first and third Wednesday at noon Pacific. Let's explore this mystery together. And if you're ready to go even deeper, my channeled book with my son Spencer, Listen to the Silence, Messages and Miracles from Spencer Who Never Spoke Words, is waiting for you at listentothesilence.org. Have you had an experience you can't explain? A sign, a presence, a knowing that left you changed, but unsure who would understand? I'm Gina Gale Gray.
So are we jumping timelines? This is what we've been conversing about for the last half hour. What does it mean to jump timelines? How this is expressing itself in your life? Why are we all having these feelings that something is glitchy in our daily life? What does that all mean, right? That's what we've been talking about. And I've shared with you about what's been happening with the nodal axis, what they are, why is it important to look at them. I've shared with you where they were for the last 18 months, where they are now, where they've just moved into. We spoke about what it means to the Lion's Gate to peak, and what does it mean to have an eclipse that's happening, a full solar eclipse, just a few days after the peak of Lion's Gate on 8/8. But now I'm ready to take you into this craziness, which is, why does August feel so extraordinarily different, as if we're standing in between two stories, right? That's a lot of people I work with are in my field tell me, even in the few days of August, they're feeling this in the last days of July. Well, that's because, look, not only everything that I've shared with you earlier today is happening and will be happening, but look at the beauty of cosmology and how it's harmoniously supporting our journey. That right after the solar eclipse, and like I explained what it's about, then 15 days later, we have a partial lunar eclipse, which will have the sun in Virgo and the moon in Pisces. So we go back to that energetic of the nodal Pisces Virgo, right? So you're like, well, why? We've moved into this full moon, Leo Aquarius. We've had this beautiful, Lion's Gate, and then here we go, in a way, back to the old energies. Well, it's not it. It really is to support us so that we've moved to the new nodal axis. We live in this world, and the trajectories of the planets are not instant, right? We say Neptune moved into Aries at 0 degrees way back when, 26th of January of this year. Well, it's not like, ooh, next zodiac sign next, there's a little bit of traction of the energy that was, 28 degrees, 29 degrees of Pisces into Aries, 0 degrees, 1 degrees, until it finally lands into that new energetic. Same is true for the nodal axis. We're still a bit feeling the wake of the Pisces Virgo. So here we have this new energetic just shyly coming in. Then we have this solar eclipse that is super wonderful and potent in Lion, and it's a reset to open a new chapter. And a few days later, the lunar eclipse comes back into the Pisces Virgo energy and says, okay, but before you keep going, let me help you fully ensure you've completed the previous journey. And so it creates a beautiful space for fully ending whatever that was the Pisces Virgo, as I explained earlier in today's episode, and to fully, with new awareness, because now we can see the new energetic of the new cycle, put it down, to choose, okay, to release, and to be conscious that with this completion, we can totally open up to this very fast-paced new full year ahead of us. Not a new year, but a new cycle lasting a year from this solar eclipse until next year's, from this Lion's Gate until next year's. Because as the full moon, this partial eclipse, and again, remember eclipses, they obscure and then they bring light, so you can see it all. So it's the same concept, but instead of with the sun, is about the moon. And the moon, what is it about? Is about how we experience emotions. And what did we say, Pisces Virgo? It was about going from the mind to the heart and the soul. It's that dynamic, right? So now we're in the mind, heart, soul axis, and now we are in the me, all in this one together. Let's shine our light without overpowering. So it's moving from the mind and the heart into, okay, now that we understood that, let's shine bright. Can you see the beauty and the cosmological harmony of this? So then, after this lunar eclipse, then the Leo Aquarius axis will have landed. We'll have been in it by the end of August, a full month into the new energetic, and we can really, really move into it and really allow that story to keep teaching us. It's not like we won't learn anymore that I want to say struggle or fight or movement between mind and heart or mind and soul. It's always going to be there, but I'm hoping that for each one of us, we'll have learned from it and we'll have gained a mastery or a muscle of allowing to quiet our minds when the minds are overpowering us and only wanting the small ego being fulfilled versus the highest will and the highest fulfillment of the soul. And we'll learn this new way of rising all together and shining our lights as communities with creativity. And how are we going to use technology? What new creative ways and what frequency are we going to put into all of that? Oof, this is the topic, right? AI. How are we going to move through all this thing that's happening? Right? So, how do I bring my authentic gifts into service to something greater than myself in this kind of scenario? Well, here's the thing. Between now and next year, this whole year, we are being taken into a runway. I call it a runway because I'm being shown it like truly a rocket that's going to go, 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 go until it goes into space. And some people that I work with have been asking me, well, but you're saying next year it's the biggest threshold of humanity. And yes, I have been saying that because that's what my guides have been telling me. And the biggest question and the most difficult question to answer is, well, but how does that look like in real life, in 3D life, right? What does that mean? That's a difficult question to answer. And we go back to jumping timelines and to the manipulation of the mind. And this is the rich conversation that I want to invite us all into coming into, not just through this episode. Take this conversation onto your communities, onto your family table, onto your conversations with your friends, right? This that we perceive as glitches in the matrix, this that we perceive as us jumping timelines, is really the super fast speed of life and the bombardment that we're having from outside sources of which we have no control. Seemingly, we do have a lot more control, but we are being we're under the belief that we have little or no control. And as we are being fed the narratives that higher powers want us to be fed, because the more dim and dull and numb we stay, the less we stand up for our beliefs, the less we take action to create and co-create the world we desire, and the more we succumb to something that just leaves us more and more unfulfilled. Be very aware of how the algorithms of social media work and how you're being fed what the algorithm wants. Make choices every time. Hit those three dots at the top of the social media things that are being shown to you and tell them not interested, right? If you are not interested. And watch what happens and watch out, because then you're going to be fed the other opposite side of it. And the invitation, this Lion's Gate and this solar eclipse in Leo, is inviting us to step very powerfully and in a grounded way in our empowered choices, discernment, and to not allow outside sources to tell you what you have to do, feel, or know. Choose your sources of information. Choose the books you want to read. Read books. Don't stay all day looking at the TV. Don't stay all day scrolling, doom scrolling. And if you want to scroll, put in there the topics you want to read or see or hear about. Truly, truly, I'm inviting you to go into that power, into your empowered self, and to understand when you're feeling uplifted and when you're feeling put down or unfulfilled, and to verify for yourself those moments when that happens, what's happening outside of you, and to notice if you are able to hold your truth with capital T, if you're able to act and take action and choose from what your inner knowing, your gut, your heart, your soul, not your mind, is telling you, versus your idea of some outside source, which could be your internalized voices of parents or caregivers that you cared for, versus the news, the social media, the peer pressure, the society you're in, the job you work, the job community where you work. Those are all outside sources that are telling you how you're meant to behave, dress, be seen, speak, think, right? And so it is this, let's remove that spaghetti mind. Here's the word again, right? Let's remove all those webs, all those dusty spider webs from the clutter in your mind and your third eye, your intuition, to land truly with that solar eclipse, that reset of your power. What is your truth? What are your values? What are you here for? And to ask yourself the difficult questions, questions that nobody but you have answers for. Am I happy with where I'm at in my life? Is this where I want to be? Is where I'm heading where I want to be heading? And answer honestly. If you're happy, I'm so grateful that you're happy, and I'm asking you to keep doing it, because through your own happiness and your own alignment and your own fulfillment, you're going to hold those of us who aren't able to be there. And if you're not, don't get demoralized. If you're not, then ask yourself, what is it about where I'm at that I'm not happy about? What is it about where I'm heading that doesn't make me happy? And make a small choice to begin course correction. But before course correction, you need to be very clear about what is your desire. And that sometimes requires some inner search, some inner inquiry. And that inquiry may take many ways, shapes, and forms. It may even take you through a path of a higher meta inquiry before you can go into your personalized inquiry. What is life? What I'm here for? What I am here for? Not what we are here for, what we are here for. What is death? What is birth? What is love? What is God? Who am I? All these questions that don't have crystal clear answers, and your answer is what counts, really. What is true for you that nobody can tell you it's not that way because that's how it's true for you. And within those contexts, then choose for yourself. And if what you have chosen in the past is not where you want to be, then choose again. So, jumping timelines, what is this all about? Is this tidal wave of energy that's taking us forth? It's just like moving us forth at a speed much faster than our human bodies and denser expressions of who we are is comfortable with. But you know what? There is no choice. We don't have a choice. We cannot get off this galloping, crazy horse of fire. The horse is galloping. We just have to learn how to hold to that mane and how to learn to gallop or how to surf that wave, whatever you want to use as a metaphor, knowing that this is not even just the beginning. This has been happening. I've been speaking to you about how 2025, every 2 weeks within every moon and every new cycle, every new moon, every full moon, every solstice, every equinox, we were uplifted into a new up leveling. And we've been taken into it every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. Well, you know what? Between now and next year's 6 minutes and 23 seconds solar eclipse, we are going to be taken fast into this runway. Why fast? Because there's only a year left. And next year, we're going to move through that threshold, even if we're not ready. So what does that look like is what, people ask me, like I shared with you. Do I know the full answer to that? Probably not. Can I give you some insights about it? Yes. If you look around in your world, if you look around in your life, if you look around into what has been happening for you before this moment in which you're listening to my words, you probably can tell that if you're listening to this episode is because your own conscious awareness, your level of consciousness has been rising. You have been awakening to the illusion. I guarantee that if you're listening to my voice, this has been happening for you because I magnetize through my transmission people that are ready to be taken to that next level. Most likely, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then this is not for you. And it's okay because there is no judgment on where you are on your path. We are all exactly where we need to be. We don't know what each one of us is here to do, to learn, to experience. And we can't judge whatever we are here to do, to learn, to experience. It's our soul's journey. Every soul has its own journey. Every soul has its own lessons. And if your level of consciousness is activated, if you are aware that there is such a thing as choosing love and compassion about everything else, which does not mean you're going to allow yourself to be stepped all over by everybody. It means that you have let go of conditioning, or you're in the process of letting go of conditioning. It means that you are embracing those aspects of yourself that are difficult to look at, that you haven't been able to look at it before. Parts of that maybe you have and parts you haven't yet, that you're using tools that are available to us in this quantum reality, like lineage healing, like shadow work, like quantum leaping, like healing, like all kinds of tools that are available for us in this day and age that weren't available for humanity even 30 years from now, 30 years ago. And that as you do that healing, your own heart space becomes more expanded. You're able to embrace more truth with capital T. And as you embrace more truth with capital T, you have more compassion and more love and more understanding of the pain and suffering of everybody in their own journey. And no judgment, because that compassion removes the judgment completely. And the journey, this threshold, is about a humanity that is standing in the heart, in the soul's journey, in the expansion of love and compassion. Truly, that is the answer. As simply as it can mean, it's not necessarily that easy to apply. And it's about all the things you're seeing falling down, all the dismantling that you're seeing of the governments, of the manipulative powers, all the craziness that you see. That's actually necessary for it all to crumble. It's actually what needs to happen before a new expansive possibility can exist. And the timelines here, I come again at that. I've experienced a few of these lately that I'm sitting with, I don't know the answers for, and I wonder if you do. And do write to us and tell us, right? A few of them that are really mind-boggling me. If you're familiar with the Mandela Effect, I definitely was raised, I was born in the 60s, and when I was about 12 or so, I learned Mandela was dead, for sure. And for 20 plus years, probably, I knew Mandela was dead. And then one day, when I was late in my 20s, I hear Mandela's released from prison and becomes president of South Africa. And I'm like, what? Mandela died 20 years ago. So I'm one of those of the Mandela effect. And lately, I'm one of the ones that remember the Coca-Cola logo from where I was little, with a little squiggly line in between the word Coca and the word cola. And right now, if I look back and I look at old logos from 60s, 70s to 80s or whatever it was born, it has a dot in there, not a squiggly line. I can guarantee you it had a squiggly line. And more of these. I could go hours with my own perception of the Mandela effect. So my question that I've been asking my guides is like, why am I having these perceptions that don't equate to the quote unquote reality, or I could say the illusionary matrix that I'm currently in? And the very quantum explanation I was given is that as we are moving out of the illusion of the matrix, we're able to step upwards. We can step backwards as well, by the way, upwards or lowards, into a different timeline that is as similar to the one where I was or you were, but that is closer to the outcome that I'm describing for the threshold of humanity, of a life on earth where we are the majority of humans in compassion and heart space, holding, loving, transformational space for those that are still coming with us. And yes, I also have seen the possibility of, instead of awakening to the illusion of the matrix, we're even more hypnotized and more dormant, and we slide downwards into a lower frequency, similar life with worse outcomes. Yes, that's as weird as that is. And at all times, please, as I'm sharing this, remember that all of it is an illusion, all of it, because you are a soul. You are a divine spark. And this body is just one tiny adventure that your soul is in. And that most likely your soul is also in sparks of adventures in off planets and other galaxies and other points of this earth illusionary linear time. Because as we discussed before, time is really a whole ocean of water, and every dot of the ocean is a point in time that's happening at the same time. But in 3D, we see it linearly. So, most likely, you're more confused than you were when you started this episode, which is probably my goal for today. I wanted to invite you into deeper inquiry. I wanted to not give you all the answers, to invite you into finding what answers are the true answers for you, into understanding that truly the only way forward in fulfillment and empowerment is for you to call in your discernment more and more, to really tune into what you are listening, even what you're listening from me. Does it ring true? If it rings true, keep listening. If it doesn't ring true, next, move on. Don't stay in something that is not feeding your soul and feeding your intellect and inviting you into being more in your power. It is a very clear purpose of my soul to empower you so that you can be in your power, in discernment, and in choice. This is really my journey for you, what I'm holding space for you, what I help people with in releasing conditioning, in releasing trauma, and releasing what is holding them back, in releasing loops in which they find themselves because they can't move on because they're stuck, and gain that space of self empowered, shining light of your uniqueness. So, this is really what I had for today. I hope that you join me for Lionsgate. It's happening in a few days. And go to my website, theawakenedpath.com. Go scroll down, Lionsgate, sign up. It's free. It's 8 at 8 a.m. Pacific. Or go to the description to this podcast, to this video, and look for the link there. And by all means, send me your views on this very a debatable conversation. I do invite the debate. I want to hear from you, but I want you also to be clear on why are we in this runway, in this rocket, and why do we feel the air going, with a lot of yeah, I can't think of the word, when it was right, when we're really going into a runway that's going to have a lot of change, and we're speeding up into it, and we have all these signs in the sky giving us an activation of energy and of information. And the more we align with the earth and the cycles of the earth and the planet movements, the more we can hold to the frequency that we're navigating. And with this, I wish you well. I can't wait to hear from you. Lots of love and light. Thank you for joining me, Shakti Bottazzi, on the Soul Wisdom Project, remembering the living blueprint of the soul. Tune in every first and third Tuesday each month at 9 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. Continue your journey of conscious embodiment, integrating the design, development, and emergence of your divine blueprint. Deepen your exploration through my book, Remembering Her, A Soul Embodiment Journey, and discover mentoring and retreats at theawakenedpath.com. Healing is possible. Your journey is sacred design in motion. To put overwhelm in your past, contact me at www.theawakenedpath.com. Stay awake, stay aligned, and keep living your soul's wisdom. See you next time.